you for speaking with me about Patta.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, hey, congratulations once again for this film. So,
Yeah,
I'll just start off with the easy question.
sure. What's
Why
up?
did you want to do by Night's End? Why did you want to be in a home invasion movie like this?
Well, a couple of things. One, I had worked with Walker, the director, a few times on some smaller projects, and I just saw raw talent. I think he's very, very talented. I liked a lot of things that I'd seen him put out in previous years. And we had talked about wanting to shoot a feature film together, but a lot of the scripts that he had written in the past were had a lot more locations and would have been bigger budgets. And of course, it's always hard to find financing. And so he came down with this much more tailored, simple concept, feature film, one location, three people, which I think what was interesting about that is it made it, you're forced to get more creative because you don't have the resources. So anyways, needless to say, he asked me if I wanted to shoot it, and I said yes before I even read the script, to be honest, just because I knew him and the level of work that he puts out there. But then I did read the script, of course, and I really liked it. I think the character is a strong female lead. I come from a bit of an action background, so it's nice to be able to kind of utilize that skill set. And yeah, it was all Atlanta talent. The whole crew, the entire cast was, people kind of trying to up their game and work together and use this as sort of a calling card. And I don't know, I'm stoked it's getting released because a lot of times you work on projects like this and they never come to fruition. It's always hard to get distribution. So it was exciting to find out that we got distribution and now it's coming out.
Well, how about this? I mean, when you were offered, this part, were you surprised that this is going to be your first leading role in a feature film?
I mean, no, I wasn't surprised. I guess it's not something I really thought about. I think I just thought it was a cool story. And then as we started getting into production, the reality set in of the amount of work that it is. I think I'm in like 95% of the scenes, and we shot an entire feature film in 12 days. So it definitely, the magnitude of what I had to do kind of set in a little bit more. Because I've been doing this for 14 years, but it's always been smaller parts, a little co-star here or, a little stunt acting role there. So it definitely, it was exciting. I wasn't surprised. I feel like I've been working up to this, for a long time, and I hope to get more opportunities like this in the future. But yeah, it was a good stepping stone. And I definitely learned a lot for sure.
So how did you change your personal mindset from going from a supporting role to a leading role to play Heather? I mean, did you make any type of personal preparations for yourself? Because like you said, you were in 95% of this.
Right, right. Well, we had a table read, and the actors and I exchanged phone numbers, and we all would have discussions with each other as far as, especially Kurt and I, because we're playing husband and wife, and so we kind of went off on our own and did our own thing and discussed the script and where we thought we were at, and then did that together, and then separately we'd go and kind of just mull it over. And it's the kind of it's the kind of role that all actors dream of. I think it's just you get so used to doing commercials and small bit parts, that finally I got this juicy role, and I actually had to do the work and all the things that I had learned in acting classes where you actually break down the script and you figure out who this character is. I actually had to do that on a larger scale, which is really exciting. Yeah, I don't know. I think I lost track of what your question was.
One of the most amazing things is that when you're making adjustments like this, you really had to stretch out your acting chops. And were you amazed the fact that you could do all of this into like a feature film, because it is a lead role.
Right. Yes, it was a lot of work. Now looking back, I still obviously critique myself. I've seen it once full all the way through, and I start to nitpick at it and say, oh, I could have done this differently and whatnot. But yeah, given the circumstances, like I said, the lack of time, we couldn't take there weren't a lot of takes that we could do, lack of resources. There wasn't a whole lot of fight training that we could do. So, given the circumstances, I'm pretty proud of it. Like I said, it's a good stepping stone. I learned a lot about what it takes. More power to people that are doing these huge budget films, you know, that last for months on end, that get really nitty gritty, because it's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work.
So how did you feel about a film that doesn't have too much rehearsal time? I mean, the project itself, what was a span over what 12-day
12
production?
days. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you make an adjustment to that? Because you came from a lot of projects that actually have, you know, they're much bigger budgets, more
Right.
time to do it. You could rehearsal much more. So how did you
Right.
make adjustments for something like an indie project like this?
Like I said, we took it upon ourselves to kind of figure it out on our own. Like I said, the lead actor and I both met up for coffee by ourselves and would have phone calls with each other and talk about the script. Um, Same with the fights. I mean, we had a few small fight rehearsals, but you kind of just have to adapt in the moment. Also, the spaces for the fights were pretty small. We fought in a small bathroom, in a crawl space, in an attic. So, you know, I think it just takes, you just have to learn to adapt, and it is what it is. And so, like I said, I'm proud of, given the circumstances and the parameters that we were given, I think everyone kind of stepped up their A game and did the best that they could, and kind of rehearsed on their own, or did the work on their own that they could before they brought it to the table.
What do you like about playing your character Heather?
I mean, she's a badass. Yeah, just she's a tough woman. I love, you know, she comes from a military background. Um, but also there was a lot of, it was dynamic too, because, you know, she loves her husband, and they have some tension, and they're dealing with financial stresses. So there's a lot of, she's very reserved. So I loved that. I knew that there was still a connection with her husband. It wasn't quite over, but she didn't know how to express herself. And then they're thrown in the mix of this crazy scenario overnight with someone breaking into their home. And so that just adds another layer to it. So I liked that there was levels to who she was. It's not just shoot 'em up, I'm a badass, you know, but she was that with a little bit extra, to make it more real, which is true. It's this couple, you know, living with each other, living with a bit of a past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I like the fact that you played her very cool and calm, and you know, compared to your husband, played by Kurt Yu, who seemed a very desperate character throughout.
Right.
They're very opposite. So how was it
Right.
working with Kurt?
Kurt's lovely. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, we connected really well. Like I said, it was nice that we were able to rehearse with each other. We have a lot in common, actually, outside of work itself. So it was just very easy. Everyone was professional. Yeah, it was one of those things. You never know who you're going to meet or who you're working with. So it's kind of fun to just play around and see what's this dynamic going to look like. And Walker definitely was a part of that, and sort of expressing how he saw this couple interact. So yeah, it was good. Kurt's lovely.
So would you have if you found out there was treasure in your house, would you tear up your house looking for it?
Yes. Wouldn't you? I mean, if I put it that if I killed someone in my house, I don't think I would. I think I would call the cops. But
after watching this film, I literally believe you could probably kill somebody.
I wish that was true. I couldn't hurt a fly. I can't. Like, I feel guilty. I think about when I was a little kid and I like stepped on ants, and that made me feel like guilty. So
So tell me about your fight training background. I mean, how do you do this so flawlessly for action film like this?
well, I didn't feel like it was flawless, but it still turned out pretty good. Yeah, you know, the action stuff and the stunts was kind of a interesting start to my career. It wasn't exactly planned. I was a competitive figure skater for 18 years growing up. and that's a very performance-based sport. And I also just happen to have a love for film and television. So when I moved to LA originally after college, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. I just knew I loved movies. And so I started out as a production assistant, and I was an intern with a production company, reading scripts and writing coverage and sort of trying to figure out my way. And I realized I loved performing. And so I went back to dramatic arts school, and part of that program was a stage combat class. And my coach knew me at the time and told me, oh, you should go audition for one of the live stunt shows at Universal Studios. And so I did, and I booked that job. And so I performed at the Waterworld stunt show at Universal Studios for 10 years, which is a big live stunt show. And that was kind of my in. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't something that I thought about for years. That kind of just came about. And through that, I met a lot of other stunt performers, and started booking a lot of more kind of stunt acting roles. You know, they want physical performers, or people that can handle some dialogue, but also fight a little bit or fall on the ground and, and take reaction. So it's kind of where that came about. And since then, yeah, just training with friends, doing a lot of choreography and kickboxing, and trying to stay as fit as I can, I guess.
So in reality, you
Yeah.
can kick ass because you do know kickboxing. And we're not talking about aerobics kick.
Well, there's a difference between kicking and hitting a bag and a person. Sparring is a whole other thing. If I start to spar somebody, I don't want to get punched in the face. But I think, I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully I never have to put this to the test. I think if I was in a real dangerous scenario, I don't think someone would want to mess with me, put it that way.
I mean, after watching you in this film and knowing some of your work, I mean, it seems like you really do enjoy this physical activity, you know, whether stunt or fighting.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun. The whole world is fun. It's make-believe. I think, Halloween is my favorite holiday. I think the idea that we can get to play these kind of crazy characters, or the fact that I can be this tough chick who like stands off against these guys coming into her house, I would never want to have to experience that in real life, but it's kind of fun to delve into that and play. It's basic. We're playing. We're adults that get to play make believe.
Well, let's talk about some of your choreograph fight scenes, because you managed to. Usually, when we get into fight scenes, there's just this typical fight scene, just throwing punches here and there, but you actually had to do fight scenes in unusual locations. Let's start off with the bathroom one first. I mean, you're fending off somebody who's probably like twice your size in that bathroom alone.
That was really fun. Yeah, it really, the trick with this movie was specifically the small locations, the bathroom and the crawl space. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw that sequence where there's a hole in the bathroom in the drywall. So this was a practical location. This wasn't a set, obviously. This was Walker's, well, it's now his wife, but it was his girlfriend at the time, her house. And take one, I charge into the bathroom and I go right through the drywall. So I thank God, I'm like, Walker, you have to put a ring on it now, because you just ruined her house. So yeah, there was a problem with the location, but I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, we kind of had to make do and sort of tailor the choreography to work in those small spaces. The crawl space too is a lot of just kind of rolling around on the ground.
Was the crawl space thing difficult because not only that you're rolling, I feel claustrophobic if I was down there. I don't even know if I could actually move, but you managed to move fluidly.
I mean, it definitely was hard. It was hard for everybody, the crew too, the camera guy. We were all on our hands and knees, and they had a dust machine, so it was like smoky. It's definitely claustrophobic, but I think that's kind of what lends to the cool feel in the movie too. It's kind of the dingy spaces, the lighting, and it was all real. It was actually really uncomfortable and really small.
One of the things I've learned over the years when I speak to actors is night shoots seem to be difficult. And this is a film where the storyline takes place in just a few hours
Mm-hmm.
overnight.
Mm-hmm.
I could imagine your night shoots being 12, 12 nights in a row. How was that challenging and difficult for you?
Well, we actually did day for night. So we were actually shooting during the day. They lit it to make it look like it was nighttime, which was awesome. But yeah, it was long hours. We had maybe one or two of the shoots were actually night when we were shooting outside. But other than that, we were shooting during the daytime. But yeah, it is. I mean, it is long hours. It does get exhausting. But that's a testament to our DP who made it look like it was nighttime then. The whole shoot. It's always impressive to me. I don't know how they do that.
So, comparing your experience doing an indie film like this, because you've been on bigger projects, stunt wise before, because I looked in your filmography, you've done like Marvel movies and all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What's what's the drastic change for you when you do something big to something small like this?
I mean, honestly, filmmaking, it's all the same. It's just scaled down. Obviously there's a lot more money on a big Marvel shoot. There's a lot more prep time. You can, people have time to do what's called a previs for stunt fights. So it's all kind of planned out ahead of time. Actors get to train, for a couple weeks or months, to get in shape and to really learn the choreography or the movement of their character. We didn't really have much of that, to be honest. So it's just a scaled down version, but the characters that I'm fighting, those are professional stuntmen. We had a stunt coordinator who I've worked with in the past who's awesome, Keith Davis. And so we had, a little bit of prep time. But yeah, it really is just more scaled down. And not a lot of effects. We don't have, crazy explosions and crazy, car chases. It's just a smaller scaled down version. But I mean, the filmmaking process is still the same.
Are there any more stunts out there that you still want to do? Is there any like a dream stunt sequence that you want to do out there?
I love wire work. I think, because ever since I was a little kid, I always wanted to fly. I actually jumped out of a shopping cart when I was like 4 years old because I thought I could fly, and I ended up breaking my tooth. And so I was toothless for a long time growing up. So yeah, I've always wanted to fly. So wire work is really fun because, it's like playing a superhero. You just, I don't know, just woof, go.
I'm amazed because you do most of the things that I only watch on movies on screen. So
Well, have you ever been ziplining before?
no, I have never been zip.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Like, think of if you ever go ziplining or you go to Costa Rica on vacation, you're you're flying. It feels all it feels awesome. That's kind of what wire work is like, sort of.
Gosh, I feel like I'm missing out because I've never been ziplining, never been parachuting, bungee jumping.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel I'm braver than most because I told somebody that I was snorkeling in the Galapagos Island in the middle of the ocean, and
Yeah.
someone said, "You risked your life." I was like, I was just in the ocean.
I guess there's levels to it for sure. But the Galapagos is awesome. I've always wanted to go. I haven't been.
Oh, it's beautiful, especially when you go snorkeling over there. You're actually snorkeling with like seals and sharks and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
Turtles.
Right.
So it's great. It's a great experience.
If you're snorkeling with sharks, I mean that's real stunts right there.
Well, it's not baby sharks. I mean the most that they could do is just bite off your foot.
That's all.
That's all. So do you?
Appendage, you don't need it.
Well, I'm not doing major stunts or wire work. So do you enjoy the acting side more or the stunt side more?
The acting. Yeah, it's I don't know. There's something about it's almost therapeutic to get into character and play. Yeah, there's something about the emotional side to it that I love. As I really love comedy. I know this isn't necessarily a comedy. I'd love to do more of that. Like I said, it's just like being a big kid playing make believe. I had an acting coach years ago that called acting you're a behavioral, what do you call this? You're a human behavioral scientist.
Hmm.
And I love that because that really is what it is. You're taking these words from a page and you're breathing life into it. And I am an avid movie watcher, TV watcher. Like I love film. And the reason I love it is I love connecting with these characters because we're watching the human condition. When it's done well, we're not even realizing we're watching a movie. We're invested in the story. And so as a performer, I love knowing that I get to be a part of that story.
Wow. Well, because this is your first leading role, now you just got that taste. Now you're gonna want more leading
Oh
roles.
yeah, I know. I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled. Hopefully I get more opportunities.
I believe you will. I think this is great. Well, let me wrap it up with one more thought, because you and I are speaking via Zoom right now, especially during crazy times like this. How are you staying creative and sane during times like this?
Well, I actually, it was fun. I had some friends who we created a little quarantine short film, which actually the idea was it was a family. So him and his wife are both actors, and they shot a film amongst themselves about a couple who is struggling during quarantine, and they decide to separate, and they split the house in half, and the two of them live separate lives, and they both start online dating. And so they hired me and asked me to film a little Zoom image of me pretending I was on an online date. And so it was really cute, so we were able to stay creative. We shot, an actually legitimately social distanced short film and put it together. And then I shot another little project. I really enjoy directing as well. So I got together with two friends and we shot a little short out in the woods ourselves, and just doing some writing, editing, watching a lot of Netflix. I think there's something to be said. You can learn a lot and get ideas from watching other projects too. So I've been able to stay creative. I took a lot of online dance classes.
I guess that'll be the next thing, watching Michelle on TikTok or something.
I'm not on TikTok. I'm not a millennial. I haven't done it yet.
So is there nothing you can't do? I mean, you write,
Not
you
the best
direct, you
singer.
act, stunt.
I'm not the best singer. Yeah. And it makes me really upset because I love music. But you're probably not going to see me in a musical.
That's too bad. So
Yeah.
so definitely not TikTok.
No.
Well, hey Michelle, hey, thank you very much for speaking with me, and once
Thank
again,
you.
congratulations for By Night's End.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And remind me, how do I pronounce your name?
Gig.
Gig. Okay. All right. Well, it's nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you too, and hopefully we get to do this again.
All right. Sounds good.
Bye
Enjoy
now.
your weekend. Bye.